Yeah, guys, we're here with Bucky McMillan, the head basketball coach at Mountain Brook, and more recently named the National Coach of the Year by the National High School Coaches Athletic Association. How exciting was that for you, Bucky, just to hear that news?
It was great news, especially when you look at some of the names on the list. A lot of legends in the game, Bob Hurley Sr., Boo Williams, many other guys. But, just to get national recognition in our state for anything is always good for our state in basketball, and that makes me happy in and of itself.
Was that anything that you thought was even on your radar, something that you ever thought was maybe possible that your name would be among those?
It was always a dream of mine to coach, and you never say never to anything, but, I will just say this. When I found out, I was elated, but I was really elated just for our whole community because, Mountain Brook, people love basketball in Mountain Brook.
Sure.
And, even though my name's on the award, and it's an individual award in that regard, it really is a group award in our mind because we have such great coaches throughout our system. We start our basketball in our system in second grade.
Yeah.
We got guys who are coaching in second grade through sixth grade, our junior high coaches, our high school coaches, and I may get the credit for this award, but, it's all of us. And that's not even talking about our great players and all they've done. This team especially, made a statement on a national level. And so I'm glad that we got this recognition.
Coach, talk about this team. You won back-to-back state championships, just a great amount of talent on this team. Would you say this is the best team that you've had in your 10 years coaching the Spartans?
Well, I would say arguably this is one of the very best teams to ever play basketball in this state. And it's not just overwhelming talent. We have some very good players, but we had incredible leadership. We had 4 seniors on this year's team. And I'm going to tell you some stats here that will blow your mind. 4 seniors, okay? 3 of them were in the National Honor Society. One of them had a 4.53 GPA. One had a 4.37. One had a 4.1. 2 were Eagle Scouts. One was Bryant Jordan Scholar Athlete of the Year. One was a My 68 Scholar Athlete of the Year. And 2 received full Division I athletic scholarships. 2 scored a 35 on the ACT, 1 scored a 34 on the ACT.
Unbelievable.
So, you could go through a whole school and not find that, much less a group of 4 players. So, when you have great leadership, great things are possible. Then we had the Gatorade Player of the Year who's a junior, Trendon Watford. And, everyone looks at him as a great basketball player, but they don't see what makes Trendon so special is he's such an incredible role model to all the kids in the community. He'll go to a 2nd and 3rd grade game or go to a 4th grader's birthday party, and is such a role model for those guys. So not only were they talented, and not only do they love each other and play for each other, they were great people. And, when you're part of something special like that, it's something I'll never forget. And they've left great examples for all the groups to follow.
Coach, when you watched your guys play, it was clear who was the best player on the court. But they had guys around Trendon who just worked hard the entire time. They gave 100% effort the entire game. How do you get that out of guys? How do you get maybe a mediocre athlete to play better than he probably is?
Well, I think the biggest thing is it's our culture, and we all make a commitment not just to, ourselves, but we make a commitment to each other that we're never going to give anything what we call 100% of the time, and if you not giving that, you're letting your brother down right by you. And in our program, we got a lot of people that are willing to do that. So it's hard to hang on and be a part of our program if you're not willing to do that. That just goes with signing up to be a part of our program. That's one thing we talk about before we even have tryouts is if you can't do this, don't try out, no matter how talented you are. So it's good to have guys that want to give 100 all the time.
Sure. Bucky, your coaching style, the way you substitute. You're constantly bringing guys in 5 and 5 subbing. A lot of coaches would say, guys need more time to get in a rhythm, but it seems as though the bench that you put in picks up right where the starters were. The starters go back in and they're fresh. What's your mindset behind your coaching style when it comes to substitution?
It's just I believe in all our guys, and I know what they go through, and I've seen them in practice, and I've seen them on the track, and I've seen them in the weight room, and I've seen them year-round, and I know that they wouldn't make it to the game if they didn't have something special about them, and it's not just me that believes in them, they all believe in each other. And, I mentioned Trendon, such a star. I can mention other great players, but, they're willing to give the ball up in spots and crucial parts of the game because they believe in those other players. And, we know that we're playing for each other, and regardless what happens, we all got each other's back. And that's a cool thing. You know, I know if I make a coaching mistake, they're not going to look to me and be blaming me. You know, and I know if they make a player mistake, I may talk to them about that, but I'm still going to believe in them, and we're all going to believe in each other.
As a former college basketball player myself, one thing I love about your team is that, especially during the state championship game this past year, there could be an open guy on the wing. But if he feels like the guy in the corner is even more open than him, he'll make the extra pass. How do you instill that unselfishness in your players that they might have a wide open three, but this guy's even more open and he is probably a better shooter?
Yeah, we ask the same deal to our players. You know, if you were in that spot, would you want an extra pass? And that's contagious. You know, like not making the extra pass is contagious. Making the extra pass is contagious. But it's unique when you have a team that gets more excited and more happy for a teammate to make a shot than themselves. And that speaks to character. You know, you can have a bunch of guys that can understand the extra pass but don't want to do it, and it's because I have to be on them all the time. It's another thing when, you know, you show them that and they're elated to do it because they get to see the joy of a teammate making a shot.
Now, one of the things I really enjoy about watching you guys play actually is before the game. You do like a scrimmage type deal where the blood is pumping. I mean, they're sweating already. And by the time the tip comes, I mean, it's like they've already played an entire quarter of basketball. What's your mindset behind that? And was there a risk involved because you didn't want to guys get hurt? I mean, what's your thoughts behind that?
Well, you know, our biggest deal is, I think sometimes in this day and age that basketball is about, you know, how you look sometimes. And I look out there and I think that's wrong. You know, it's like people will make a great play, make a great crossover. Some kid will fall on the ground, the air ball is shot, and everyone's going crazy like he did something special. And, you know, sometimes when you see guys in warm-ups, it's about, like, you know, showing off in warm-ups.
Sure.
You know, we're out there to warm up. We got to go to battle here in about 10 minutes. So, you know, ever since we've done that, I think we've started better in games. We started about 3 or 4 years ago, and I didn't feel like we started the first quarter well.
Yeah.
And that kind of gets us going.
Sure. When you talk about Trendon specifically as a player, you talked about what he does off the court and visiting with young people that look up to him. But the player he is on the court speaks for itself. A big guy who can handle the ball. He's fantastic inside and out. What do you see for his future, not only in college but beyond?
You know, it's what you said. I'm glad I'm talking to somebody that's played the game, because, you know, some people can just see Trendon and, you know, just see points or see this. But, you know, you really appreciate Trendon when you see somebody who is his size and has the skills of a point guard. You know, I mean, tell me how you want to guard him. You know, this guy that can post on the block, he can make threes, he can handle the basketball, he can guard your point guard, he can guard your five. And so when you're asking how that translates, you know, the new age game, which is about guys all being able to handle, dribble, pass, and shoot. Well, he can do all of that at his size. So he may or may not be the best athlete, you know, even though he's a good athlete, but for his size, he's as skilled as you're going to find.
Now, with what you've done in Mountain Brook, the success that you've had, now National Coach of the Year honors, what is your future? I mean, I know you've been asked this question 1,000 times, so I'm going to ask it 1,001. Do you want to go to the college game? How do you not get complacent in what you've already done here, winning championships so often here at Mountain Brook? Well,
you know, you say about getting complacent is, you know, I always look at, like, next season will be a completely different group than this group. You know, like I said, we played in 5 of the last 6 state championship games, but it was the first one for that specific team. You know, and that's kind of how, you know, I look at it. You know, that's my city. That's where I'm from. So it means a lot to me to see the popularity of basketball in the city. But, you know, people don't do the same things forever. I do understand that, you know, but I just know that during this time period, regardless what the future holds, this has been a great time period for me, getting to coach the game I love in the city I love.
When it comes to your coaching philosophy and on the court and off the court, is there someone that you look up to, somebody you try to model, whether it's a basketball coach, college, NBA, or football, or anyone that you look up to?
Well, you know, our style is not necessarily taken from one specific place. You know, it's kind of like trial and error, and, you know, I'm not afraid to take chances on things, but if there's just somebody that I just look up to in terms of the game of basketball, there'd be 2 people. That was my college coach, Dwayne Reball, who was, you know, as good a coach as there was. He coached me at college back when Birmingham was a Division I school, and I don't just mean for X's and O's. He was just an incredible mentor of how you treat players, and a great person. And then my father, who coached, he was one of the first to coach Mountain Brook kids in AAU basketball, mixed Mountain Brook kids with kids from other communities at a very young age. And, you know, I really kind of got a good gauge from him what it meant, the toughness it took to be a suburban community and to be able to compete at the highest level, how tough you really had to be. So those would be the two guys that I really probably learned the most from.
Great. Bucky, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, National Coach of the Year, guys. Back to you.